Hey everyone, Dr. Josh here. Let me see if the thing is working. It looks like it might be. Yes. And let me see if I got some audio. Dr. Josh here. I do. I have audio. Fantastic. All right. I think we got this. Megan, of course, is in the UK. And I am going to set this screen up so I can see the live chat. But yeah, sorry. Megan is in the UK with Oliver, and so I am here, and I had her on the phone or on Skype or whatever it is, having her walk me through exactly how to set the stream up. So she did a fantastic job, and we got the mic, and we got the screen. And I think we're doing well. So welcome everyone. This is going to be an Ask Me Anything. And I'm going to make the thing a little, there we go. There's going to be an Ask Me Anything about, I mean, you can ask me anything you want, obviously, about whatever. But I thought that it would be a good idea, given what we've talked about over the past couple of months. And we released a Daniel video yesterday, that these are some important topics that have come up, and it's probably a good idea to sort of take a step back, take stock of what we talked about, and let you guys ask some questions if you have them about some of these topics. So Ezekiel 26 and the prophecy there. We've talked about slavery in the Old Testament. Of course, recently we've talked about the book of Daniel, and these are difficult topics. I don't think this is something that any of us should kid ourselves and say these are easy issues, these are clear-cut issues. I think that there are definitely things that we know, data points that we have, and but trying to formulate a model that addresses all those data points, of course, is what we do. So that's what we should be shooting for. So let me just take a look at the side chat here. When is Megan getting her doctorate? She is working on that right now. And actually she's made a big push recently on trying to get the current chapter written up, and I think she's going to try to finish it up this year. Hi everybody. Sorry, I'm just reading through the chat. Appreciate you guys being here. It's fantastic. We have 35 people watching right now, which is awesome. Oh, good. Audio's fine. Great. 5x5. Lima Charlie, as they would say when I was in the service. Okay, Cadaver Splatter. Our first question. Do you know of any monographs and articles about Sumerian modality? Like Aaron Cohen's monograph on Old Babylonian modality. Yes. So Miguel Seville has a really big, really popular article on, shoot me an email, and I'll get that to you. That's a very technical and awesome question. I love technical Sumerian questions. So yes, I'll get that to you. Let's see. Yeah, if you guys wouldn't mind liking the stream, that would be awesome. And I'm sorry that I don't have Megan here to read the super chats in her seductive voice. I was thinking maybe I could try to read the super chats in a Kent Hovind voice. Haven't heard him in a while, but I used to be able to do Kent Hovind pretty well, so we'll see how that works. If not, maybe I could just take suggestions from you guys on how you think I should read it. But Steve Bowden. Question, how many pages is a typical doctoral thesis in your field? Yeah, it can vary. They generally want it to be, at least 200 pages is sort of what I've heard. Mine was like 500 or 600. My advisor, who is amazing, his was almost 3,000 pages. So it just sort of depends on the topic. A lot of it, you have sort of the core material, the analysis, the written analysis, and that can be a couple hundred pages. Then you often have a lot of data that's involved. So I have, what do I have? I have a, good grief, what's it called? An edition of a Sumerian liturgical text. So that took up, I don't know, 60 or 70 pages maybe. And then there's just a lot of data that was sort of spelled out. So yeah. Yeah, 3,000 pages. It was quite a lot. Malachi 186282. I'm looking for a good Bible commentary that presents the Bible from a secular perspective. Or if you have a good one. Generally speaking, actually, you know what? Let me go get a book. Hold on a second. So I actually wanted to make a Be Right Back screen that would have like little elevator music playing or something, but I haven't done that yet, so I need to. This is a book, 2018 publication, just came out by John Collins, and it's Introduction to the Hebrew Bible, 3rd edition, and fantastic scholarly work. Of course, John Collins has an amazing commentary in the Hermeneia series on the book of Daniel. But yeah, so as far as an overall book, like that sort of an introduction to the Old Testament, so he gives a lot of background to the formation of the Pentateuch and introductions to each of the books, the issues that are involved with them. So it's a fantastic work. Obviously very well written, easy to understand. I would recommend that sort of as a general introduction to the Hebrew Bible. As far as commentaries go, you probably want to get individual commentaries. So, for example, this is Carol Newsom's. I just have this here because I was looking at it last night. But Carol Newsom's relatively recent commentary on the Book of Daniel in the Old Testament Study series or Old Testament Library series, and this is quite the scholarly work. She has. Let me just see here. I'm trying to look ahead. It's a 2014 publication. Her bibliography starts here. Probably 40 pages of bibliography. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, that much. It's probably not easy to see there, but that much of the book is bibliography. Anyhow, so yeah, those are the types of things that I would look for. The Hermeneia series is good. Old Testament Library. Some of them are a little dated. Some of them, obviously, here are more updated. But Hermeneia is fantastic. From an evangelical, maybe a little more evangelical standpoint, if you're looking for that, the New International Commentary in the Old Testament series is good. Golden Gay, what's he writing in? There's he's got, I think, a 3-part commentary on the Psalms. That's in I think it's a more evangelical commentary. But I can't remember the name of it, if anybody remembers it out there. But again, I think these are good scholarly works that are engaging with the material. So I think you want to steer clear, in my opinion, you want to steer clear of commentaries that are coming to the text with overtly stated biases, like that. They're trying to prove something. It's one of the reasons that I really don't care for Gleason Archer's Encyclopedia of the Bible, right? Or Encyclopedia of Bible Contradictions or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. I have it out there on the shelf. But, he's looking for any reason to defend his particular evangelical position. And I just don't think that's good scholarship. And you can see it in the arguments that he makes. So, right. So I was trying to think of another good series. Dahoud's got it's a little dated, but a commentary on the Psalms in the Anchor Bible. Anchor Bible commentary series is actually usually really good. Sorry, I'm just talking about Old Testament because that's sort of what I specialize in. But, Hermania has excellent New Testament stuff as well. So does the Anchor Bible commentary series. Right. And there's the New International Commentary on the New Testament. There's also, again, more evangelical. There's the Pillar commentary series. Douglas Moo published oh boy, NIGTC, I think is what it is, an International Greek Testament Commentary. He published, I think, Romans. Anyway, when you have a commentary that engages with the original languages, that's dealing hopefully with both sides of these, controversial issues, you don't want a commentary that's just going to engage with an evangelical perspective or a, like what you might consider like a more liberal perspective. You want to try to get people that are engaging with the data points and accounting for the data points in their model. So, okay, sorry. Okay, Andrew Botella, sorry if I butchered your name, could you talk a bit about the history of Satan, Lucifer, and the war between the angels and demons? I haven't done a lot of work in that. One place that you might want to look, and I just got a text from Megan, and she's saying that I'm doing amazingly. That is so sweet. I thought she was going to say, talk louder or something. Thank you, sweetheart. You're incredible. I hope you're having a good time out there. I'm really glad that she's getting to spend time with her family. She doesn't get to see them anywhere near as often as she should, and it's very difficult, and everybody's being really patient, but I'm just so glad that she's getting to be out there. And Oliver's going to have his first birthday party out there, and his mutti is very excited to see him, and so is Allie. Man, if you guys are watching, hey, miss you guys a lot, and I'm just really glad that they get to be out there for this. Okay. So there's a new commentary, new-ish. Boy, I don't remember the publication date. It's in the past couple of years by Chung-Leung Sao on the book of Job. That's probably, I'm tempted to go get it, but I don't have my holding screen, and I don't want to do that too many times. But Sao, of course, is going to deal with, the whole interaction there in the book of Job. He's going to have extensive discussion on Satan. Actually, also, Collins, Newsom, any good commentaries. Sao's got a shorter commentary on Daniel. Who else? It's a little dated, but Hartman and Delilah have a commentary on the book of Daniel. And of course, they're dealing with this whole Prince of Persia thing in the latter portions of the book. So how, you have spiritual beings that are sort of in charge of individual cities or countries. And of course, this is an ancient Near Eastern concept, nothing really new. You want to look into things like, is it really the devil that we're looking at in places like Job? Probably not, because of the way that the text is written. You're just dealing with like the adversary. But again, I don't know how comfortable I'd feel talking about it just because I haven't engaged with the secondary literature and with the Hebrew text recently. So maybe that'll be something I talk about in the coming term. Oops, skip down. So please, if you have questions, everybody, get them in the side chat. Thank you, everybody, for tagging me in the digital Hammurabi way. Could you talk? Oh, you did that. Okay. What nation do you want to win the war in Syria? I don't know if I feel comfortable talking about that here. Sorry, watching Rome burn. Are you aware? So Deborah McMillan, are you aware of Tartaria and how it fits in with Sumer? Glad I finally caught you doing a live show. I don't know what that is, actually. Yeah, I don't know that I know what that is. Sorry. If you want to, Deborah, maybe put like another little comment, maybe that explains it a little bit. Maybe I will recognize it if you explain it. Sorry. Sabella Shepherd, Holman is required reading for New Testament commentaries. Yeah. I haven't actually looked at any of them, but of course I haven't really messed around in the New Testament in a while. So, thank you. Yeah, definitely check those out. Pinckney Salisbury, which English rendering of Elohim in Genesis 1:1 would you use? God, gods, or pantheon? I rendered as G unit. That's pretty clever. No, I would say God here. There are different passages where Elohim is it's debated as to what it's trying to indicate. Exodus 21 and 22. Actually, good friend of ours, Brack, it is putting out, I think in the near term, I hope I'm allowed to say this, Brack, sorry. He's been working on a video talking about, and I'll just say it generally, talking about Exodus, the use of Elohim in Exodus 21 and 22, because there's, it seems to be talking about judges there in the text, so of course that's part of the covenant code. So these are legal texts, and during I think the laws are about slavery, not slavery, sorry, theft, and actually in 21 I think it's used in the slavery text or slavery law, but it says bring them before the Elohim, and so traditionally that's been understood, rabbinic literature, rabbinic writings understood that as like the judges. And there's a parallel, I think, in 22:27, where Elohim is paralleled, Exodus 22:27, where Elohim is paralleled with Nasi, which is like, another like earthly human ruler. And so I think there's good evidence taking it as the judges. But again, this is a debated thing. It could be referring to God's divine presence or bringing it before the presence of Elohim, presence of God, in the same sort of way that you see in Numbers 5, maybe not in an overt, Numbers 5 is where the woman whose husband suspects that she's committed adultery, but doesn't have any direct evidence, brings his wife before to the tabernacle, and the priest there performs this ritual, scoops up some dirt off of the floor of the tabernacle and puts it into water, and there's a ritual involved, and she swears that she hasn't done anything wrong. And then when she drinks it, there's language that talks about her stomach and her thigh. We won't get into the complicated nature of it, but it's sort of this. It's somewhat akin to the river ordeal that was seen in Mesopotamia, where the gods are taking care of judgment there. We don't have evidence, and so you subject it to divine judgment, and the gods, make the judgment. And so that may be what's referred to here. Of course, it's also possible, I think Michael Heiser argues that this is like a divine council. At any rate, I don't know that. I don't remember exactly what his argument was. But nonetheless, I would say God in Genesis 1:1. Okay. Cadaver Splatter, do you like any metal? I'm really a fan of bronze. That was lame. By the way, what do you guys think? Got my new coffee mug in. Might be hard to see, but Megan's drawing of Ashurbanipal and the inscription, and then the cuneiform, and then the translation of it. This is my new favorite coffee mug. On Teespring. Megan will be very happy that I said that. We have our Teespring Chandice. Have I said this before? I don't remember if I said this. I refuse to call it merch. I'm not calling it merch. Can't call it merch. It just sounds weird. So I call it Chandice. Our Chandice. So but you could buy t-shirts. You could buy... we got this hoodie, which I love wearing. I wear it too often. But that's Megan's drawing there. And then on the back, the digital Hammurabi. I love this thing. I probably buy more of this stuff than anybody else does, so which is good. Okay, do I buy? I know what you mean. Metal bands. Lots of metal bands are into Mesopotamian themes, and it was my original introduction to it as a kid. I actually never really got into metal. Metallica was probably the hardest that I ever got into, and I doubt that they'd be really considered metal. Oh, I see we have a super chat. All right, so I'm going to try to read this. Man, it's been so long since I've heard. I almost want a Kent Hovind voice test to get it back in tune. Why don't I just do that? Play Kent's voice real quick. I'm sorry, everybody, to subject you to this, but sort of to get my bearings.
2019, my birthday, 66 years old, the oldest I've ever been. Today, we're going to begin a long process of what's round 4 and the final round of our discussion.
All right, so I'll try to do this. What's your opinion of Michael Heiser's work? I found a lot of his theories really tedious myself. That's Biblical History Skeptics for $5. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's interesting. I've wanted to actually dive into his work a little bit more just because people reference it a fair amount. I've appreciated his work on Sitchin. Again, I think he's limited just because he hasn't had Sumerian and Akkadian formal, as I understand it, formal Sumerian and Akkadian linguistics training, and it's just really tough to comment on that stuff. But I've liked what he did, the things that he's done on Zechariah Sitchin's. I really haven't honestly had a lot of time to go into it. There are some things that I have had to engage with, but it's been sort of piecemeal. Some of the things that I can't think of any off the top of my head, but some of the things that I've disagreed with him on. But I mean, he's a very well-trained scholar, right? Studied under Michael Fox, and he's a very well-trained scholar. So I would say anything that he says, I would take it seriously. Though I might not agree with everything he says. Iron Charioteer, how do you counter apologists saying the Bible is an explanation of order out of chaos, which conforms with the entropy of the universe, therefore it is right? John Walton, and I don't know if that's what you're referencing, but John Walton, I'm sorry I'm moving through these so slowly. Good grief, we have 77 people watching. Man, you guys are awesome. Thank you. If you like the stream, please tweet it out, and please send your questions in. I'm really enjoying this. John Walton has a couple of books out. Actually, he's got a number of books out, but in particular, the People site, Inspiring Philosophy, has talked about it recently on actually a debate with Kent Hovind, which I thought was a lot of fun to watch. I don't think there's any problem with looking at Genesis 1, for example, and seeing the ordering of chaos. I mean, you have the literary theme of separation. It's one of the things that's absolutely central to Genesis 1, right? Is separating, and so putting it in its proper place. There's no question about that. I think so. Ordering the cosmos, I think is fine. Ordering the world as they understood it to be. That being said, I struggle with people pushing that too far, right? So on the one hand, seeing a motif of ordering heaven and earth, fine. I think that's true. Trying to then push that to say that there is no creation involved, for example, that creation material creation is not in mind there, or is not the concern there. I just don't think it's tenable. And I've read, John Walton's linguistic arguments, and they've been critiqued, by people like Dennis Pardee and Richard Averbeck, amongst others. I think fairly well. Of course, it's Dennis Pardee, so everything he does is great. But Richard Averbeck's, I really like Richard Averbeck. Hell of a nice guy too. I haven't met Dennis Pardee, but Richard Averbeck's hell of a nice guy. Where was I? Anyway, so I guess what I'm saying is that there are times that I think that we can push these good basic ideas further than the text will allow, and the genre will allow. And I don't think we need to, because I think when you come at the text and you're trying to, this all seems to stem from coming at the text with your conclusion in mind and then trying to make the interpretation fit the data points, but also fit your conclusion. And I think that's where things get somewhat dangerous. So, right. So then people like, if Iron Chair 2, if that's what you're asking, people like Hugh Ross, who again, I have great respect for as, in his field. I mean, he's, as I understand it, a great astronomer. And, but I struggle with them when they start to move into other areas and try to argue from a position of expertise. So, his analysis of things like stretching out the heavens in order to make the text sort of coincide or work with like a compatibilistic view, I think it, or I don't know if he's a compatibilistic scholar, but, or holds to compatibilism, but trying to make it fit like an old earth. I just think it's pushing it further than the text will allow, and really further than necessary. So Savelle Shepherd, Divine Counsel. Yeah, I think that was probably in reference to something I was saying earlier. Vegan Atheist, Coral. My mom is listening in, and she was wondering if you knew about Thracian spiritual schools, and specifically Zalmoxis and his sister. I don't. Again, if you guys email me, or put it like an explanatory, good grief, thing in the chat, maybe I can deal with it a little more, but I haven't. No. Alan Bell, I am just tuning in. Did you go over the dream Daniel interpreted about the statue and feet made of clay? Was Daniel a fictional character? Yeah, so let's talk about that for a second. So the statue, the head of gold, and then which is the most precious metal, and then as you go down, you get arguably less precious metals, and then you have this really strong metal at the bottom mixed with clay. So, I don't think, without going into a lot of gritty detail here, and we can if need be, but people view people that come to the text with sort of a particular conservative approach that want Daniel to be an early book that is prophesying about future events in a supernatural way or from a supernatural source. They want to come at this, final, this feet portion of this statue and to say, well, this is Rome, right? It's very difficult to argue that in the book. And there are a lot of reasons for that, right? There's sort of a four kingdom motif that is from the period that we can talk about, but generally it starts with Assyria and ends with Greece. Of course, here in Daniel we have it starting with Babylonia. But that being said, the thing that you have to really wrestle with in Daniel 2 and Daniel 7, Daniel 7 is sort of a reworking of Daniel 2. reworking might not be the right word, but like a development. Daniel 7 sort of ties chapters 1 through 6, the Aramaic stuff, 2 through 6, to 7 through 12. It's sort of, or to 8 through 12. It's sort of a bridge chapter. And what was I saying? I thought about how often I was saying and then when I started to think about that and thought I shouldn't do that, I lost my train of thought. Right. So the biggest problem that I think people have with holding to Rome being the fourth kingdom is chapters 8 and chapters 10 through 12. I talk about this in the video briefly, but you know, there's a Grecian theme, right? That runs throughout the book, and particularly in 10 through 12. Very difficult, I think, to argue that 10 through 12 does not end with Antiochus IV Epiphanes and the persecution that was going on around that period. So there's no good reason, one, in my opinion, to try to force Rome into that. You have later writers in the first century saying that Daniel didn't understand what was being said in his book, and it was Rome at the end, but it just wasn't revealed to him, which again leads the reader to understand that as the text was brought down to them, the idea was that the fourth kingdom was Greece. And you just see that throughout the rest of the book. So was Daniel a fictional character? I don't know. So we have evidence, quote, some talk of him in Ezekiel. Whether it's the same Daniel, you have older texts that speak about a character named Daniel. There's a lot of debate about whether it's actually this Daniel or is this sort of a wise man motif that Daniel sort of runs through. I don't have any problem with there being an actual Daniel, but it's certainly not necessary, in my opinion. Oh, I see a $10 super chat. Let me just read that. Okay, let me try it again. Well, I have a citation needed, and the Resist Poor Scholarship shirt on the way. I wish I would have been wearing the citation shirt yesterday. An acquaintance I met mentioned aliens building the pyramids. So, I had teaching 15 years, and so vibrantly Brantley, $10. Thank you so much. I hope that voice isn't annoying to everybody. But right, okay. Oh, Megan's in the side chat, and she put in the Teespring account. Awesome. Okay. Sorry, I'm going through these so slowly, guys. Cadaver Spider, do you think that the term Yahweh Elohim could be a genitive construction, as in Yahweh of the Elohim, indicating Yahweh as a member of the pantheon? I doubt it. Just my gut. I haven't looked at that specifically here. What I'd want to do is look in the various contexts and see where, particularly what I'd want to look for is where Yahweh is described, Elohim is described separately, and then Yahweh Elohim appears as well. I mean, of course, you could argue that from a documentary hypothesis or from a redaction editorial standpoint that those are later insertions, but if you have some secondary literature where people are arguing that, I'd like to see it. Please send it to me. That'd be fantastic. But I haven't heard about that. Deborah McMillan. Okay, I just heard about Tartaria about a month ago. Tartaria is an ancient empire of nations seemingly originated from the far north. I should look it up. Yeah, I will. I will try to remember to look it up. Iron Charioteer, have you learned about the Zoroastrians and their influence on the Torah in the Old Testament? I haven't, actually. I haven't looked into that. I mean, of course, I know who they are, but I haven't seen that. Oh, did we get another super chat? We did. Oh, I missed. Ugh, gosh, sorry, Biblical History Skeptics. Here for $5. I mean, Huros literally thinks that because Job is first in the Ketuvim, I don't really know what Ketuvim is, but I bet that it has to do with evolution, one of the 6 forms of evolution. That means it's the oldest. So that is literally in his book. I'm enjoying doing this probably a little bit too much. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, I think that this is a common misconception, right? It's sort of like traditional that Job is the oldest, and so people kind of hang on to that. And sometimes I think it's done innocently, but yeah. Another super chat, Injustice System 27, for $5. Hey, Dr. Josh, do you know of any good ancient Near East mythology books for kids? Best books to connect Yahweh to the wider pantheon. I would say that if you look on my book on my website, Dr. Dino, drdino.com, you can see a lot of good books there. Let me think. Actually, that might be a better question for Megan, because she's had to actually interact with this. Megan, if you're still watching, I don't know. I don't know of any for kids, but that's a good question. If not, we need to make one. And I know that Megan was just talking about making a coloring book, which I think would be awesome. Okay, who else we got? Let's see. Iron Chair Tier, thanks. You are welcome. Frustrated Atheist. Are you sure you aren't just interpreting this in a way because you just want to sin? I'm not sure about that, because I really do like sinning a lot. I can think of a lot of things that I've done that were very sinful recently. Can't think of any right now, but I'm sure there was something, because that's really the only thing that makes any sense, is that I would do this so that I can sin. I'm saying that with my tongue firmly set in my cheek. We have 95 people watching. Wow. Thank you. You guys are incredible. Wow, that is really cool. Please, if you like what you're seeing, hit the like button. Share the stream out. Man, this is crazy. Whew, a little intimidating. What I have to do is just picture myself as Jimmy, Mr. Atheist. And if I do that, there are like 80,000 people watching him live. So then this is less intimidating, but still, it's intimidating. Shane Street, or Saint, I'm not sure. Are there any known biblical... Are there any biblical Psalms or Proverbs borrowed from Sumerian or Akkadian? Ooh. I mean, I would say more than likely. Though I haven't looked into that. There is sort of a... Yeah. I was going to make a comment, but I don't know that, so I'm going to hold off. I'd like to actually look into that a little bit more, because I would suspect so. There's a lot of intertextuality. Sabella Shepherd, do you think the differences between what's in the Bible in relation to Daniel and what wasn't included are dated more or less to the same period, or if one might be done earlier? Are you talking about like the Second Temple, things that describe like the weeks? I guess it depends on what you're asking about. Sorry. What's in the Bible in relation to Daniel? What's included or dated more or less to the same period? I mean, if you're asking about like Ezekiel, the references in Ezekiel, yeah, I mean, I think Ezekiel's definitely much earlier. But I guess it depends on what specifically you're talking about. If you want to put that, Sabella, down in the chat below, I'll definitely try to answer it. Brian Stevens. When you were a Christian, did you think the Daniel prophecy about different kingdoms was true? Oh, yeah, no question. And I like, it's really interesting. I was watching the debate or discussion between Godless Engineer and S.J. Thomason, the recent one, yesterday, day before, maybe. And listening to her experience, right? She said that she was on a plane, and she sounds like a really nice person. I don't think I've interacted with her before, but she sounds really nice. But she said that she was on a plane. I hope it's okay that I say this. I mean, she did a stream about it, so I think it's okay. But she was on a plane, and a pastor sat down next to her and talked to her about Isaiah 53. And that was really moving to her, right? And she went back and looked at it. She looked at Psalm 22 and other prophetic passages, and had what she described as like this subjective personal experience with the divine, or she didn't say with the divine, but with Christ or with God. I can't remember which one. But there's sort of that resonated with me, right? Of course, mine was much earlier in my life and went throughout my life. But like these prophecies, it wasn't even a question. And actually, to sort of tie that maybe together a little more, I remember having that, doing that hangout with G-Man. Sorry if anybody's triggered by me saying that, or there's PTSD or something. But I remember with the discussion that I had, or whatever you want to call it, that after show with G-Man. And he part of his argument was, look at what the New Testament says about, the Pentateuch, and who to whom are these laws attributed, and so on. And like looking at the New Testament text as not only authoritative, but like, if it says it in the New Testament, it's true, right? And so then if you can go to the New Testament text and the New Testament text says this is a fulfillment of this, that settles it, right? That's the end. And that's who I was. I mean, there was just no question. That was my hermeneutical approach. So yeah, I mean, looking at Daniel 9 as prophecy about future coming kingdoms. Yeah, I mean, that's what the text says. So that's what it is. Yeah, no question. ENG 613, you guys are doing great, good topics. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. We're having fun. I've got a script on Old Testament slavery, or slavery in the Old Testament. That's completed. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll give a little teaser. Let me give a little teaser. We got 99 people watching. I think that's okay. I will read a portion of it. Which part? Sorry, I'm just trying to find something that won't be like giving too much away. Sorry. Okay. Talking about Exodus 21. The final issue in this passage is informed by the first two that we have investigated here. This is probably a really bad place to start it. It's got to be informed by the previous two things I haven't read to you. Are these debt or chattel slaves in verses 20 to 21? The beginning of the chapter clearly refers to debt slavery, but as unrelated laws intervene between these two sections of the text, we cannot simply assume that the same type of slave is under consideration. If one interprets the verb nakam, to avenge, or to punish, to indicate the death penalty, then the question becomes, who exacts this vengeance? Some would argue that they must be debt slaves, and there would be no one to exact vengeance for a foreign chattel slave. Kirikinyo argues, however, that this is the point of the text. As the foreign slave has no one to avenge him, this would be accomplished by God himself. There is a close parallel to this passage, however, in the laws of Hammurabi, laws 115 and 116, which state that if a man gives a member of his household as a debt slave, and the slave dies as the result of a beating, there is punishment for that death. If the debt slave is a man's son, then the son of the master who beat the debt slave to death will be killed. However, quote, if the man's slave, he shall weigh and deliver 20 shekels of silver. However, he shall forfeit whatever he originally gave as his loan, end quote. These two laws may inform our understanding of the passage in Exodus. Debt slaves in the laws of Hammurabi were avenged, more or less severely, depending on the person who was killed. So, that's the sort of thing that I'm doing. I won't read much more because I don't want to give too much of it away. I want you guys to come and watch the video. But that should be coming out. I'm going to record it today, and then hopefully we can we can get the editing is what, well, you guys know this. The editing is what takes time. But hopefully I can get it out before Megan gets back. So that should be good. Right. Sabella Shepherd. Let's skip down. Come on. Susanna and Bell and the Dragon books that were deemed apocryphal, therefore banned from the official canon. Yeah, sure, I see. Yeah, I'd want to look into that. I suspect they're roughly from the same period. But I'd want to go look because I want to look at the manuscript evidence before I'd make a determination, at least in my own mind, about that. Good question, though. In case anybody's wondering what she's talking about, there are Greek stories that are not included in the canon that come as part of the book of Daniel in some of the sources that we have, or in the sources that we have. So they're just considered apocryphal. So she's asking, do you think they were written at the same time? Would you consider doing a Ugaritic grammar series? Yeah, Pinkney Salisbury. Actually, so yes and no. I definitely would. And in fact, there's a new book by Hendrickson, published by Hendrickson, by John Hunegard on Ugaritic grammar. And that would be a really good book to go through. That being said, there are people that are far more qualified, I think, to teach Ugaritic than I am. There obviously are. And we might be able to get one. So we have, obviously, if you haven't seen, Dr. Maggie Bryson is teaching Middle Egyptian on our channel, doing a Middle Egyptian series. And she's going to be brilliant. Really looking forward to that. We're talking to Dr. William Reed about the possibility of doing a Hebrew Bible. I mean, a biblical Hebrew series. Of course, I started my biblical Hebrew series. It's been slow because I've been trying to get the Sumerian one out, which is also slow because I'm trying to get these other videos done. But I may do the first section, like the introductory section of the Hebrew grammar, and then he may pick up the intermediate. I just think I can do this stuff, but I think it's just with what we're doing on the channel and trying to get you connected to other good scholars, particularly young scholars in the field. I just think it's better to take advantage. Sure, I could teach the Hebrew class, but first of all, this is what he majored in, right? Dr. William Reed, he majored in Hebrew Bible in his doctoral program. So I mean, just on those grounds alone, I think he should be the one to teach it. But also, it's just good to get different people involved in interacting with you. So, but yes, I would definitely consider doing one, and maybe I'll think about who a good young Ugaritic scholar would be to do that. Be cool to get a Hittite, like I know some Hittite scholars that might be willing to do that. So, okay, good question. The coffee actually tastes better out of a digital Hammurabi mug. Sorry, shameless. We have 103 people watching. Man, what did I do to deserve this? You guys are fantastic. Thank you. I guess 61 people have liked it. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so. That really helps us out. If you wouldn't mind, sharing, like tweeting it out or whatever else that you guys are on. I think Facebook. What else is there? Sure, there's other stuff. Snapchat. Do you do that with Snapchat? Probably not. I don't know. Discord. Hey, we have a Discord. I'm sure that's been mentioned, but we have a Discord. I don't look at it a lot unless Megan tells me something's on there that I need to look at, but I probably should more. Right. Okay, what else do we have? Again, if you have questions, please get them in, and if you could tag me at Digital Hammurabi, then I can see them. Do people ever connect shepherd to Jesus and really think about what really happens to the sheep? Yup, they get fleeced, milked, and when they are useless, they get eaten. That's a good point. Of course, the big text that people go to about sheep, of course, is Psalm 23. And I've heard a lot of sermons, about how sheep are dumb and how they'll follow one another. And it's interesting that we're compared to sheep. I don't know if that's why Psalm 23 is utilizing that for our stupidity, but nonetheless, those are interesting parallels to make. Yeah. Okay, Cadaver Spider. Do you think that Yahweh is possibly etymologically related to Ea? Sorry, I'm thinking about why it would be. I can't think of a reason that it would be. Is there any secondary literature that argues for that? I've never heard that argument. I don't think I have anyway. I'm always scared to say that now because, like, people have said, I told you something 2 days ago, and I could have sworn that I hadn't seen it. We have 111 people watching this stream. Sorry, I keep seeing it down here in the bottom and getting blown away. You guys are fantastic. Thank you. And we have 75 likes. I'm going to pause for just a second and say, if you didn't watch the stream last night on Skylar Fiction's channel, pop over there and take a look. We always give Jesus is Lord, Jesus is Lord, Jill, whatever we're going to call him, a hard time. He always gives us a hard time. If you're not familiar with him, just watch some of Skylar's videos. But he came on last night. Ocean was on, and I was on, obviously, and he came on. It was a lot of fun. We didn't get to. I talked to him. He asked me what I thought the best evidences were for, the late date of the Book of Daniel, and so I laid that out. Unfortunately, the topic. He asked Ocean a question. I don't remember what it was, but then the topic shifted over, and so I told him that I really wanted to talk with him again, because I didn't get to hear his position, or at least I know what his position is, but his so Iron Charioteer, more than 100 watching. Time for the G-Man chant. Atheist owned. I am very happy to do that at 100 people watching. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much. So Injustice System 27, I'm sorry, I have such a tough time saying. I haven't found any ancient Near East mythology kids books either. Dr. Josh and Megan, you should definitely make one. Megan, if you're watching, I think that's a fantastic idea. Let's do that. I am down. I am down. Count me down. Little George Costanza there. Actually, I think he said mark me down. So, I love Seinfeld. And let's just take a little poll. How many people out there in the chat love Seinfeld? Hit 1 if you love Seinfeld, 2 if you don't. I just want to see. Because, like Seinfeld, The Office, these are things that are so mostly Seinfeld. We'll watch all 9 seasons and then start them again and then start them again. So 1 if you love Seinfeld, 2 if you're not really a fan. I just want to see real quick. Let's see what we get. While I'm waiting, if you didn't know, Matt Powell is going to be back on Skylar's channel tonight, which is going to be fantastic. And I know there's a lot of people think a lot of different things about Matt Powell, but I think it's really going to be a good conversation. And of course, I'm going to be there in the side chat. Skylar wants it to be a kind of a one-on-one thing with Matt, which I think is fantastic. Okay, we've got yes to Seinfeld, no, maybe, no, never seen it, really. Yes, no, no. Yes, no. 0. John K. I don't know what 0 means, but it's probably awesome. Yes to Seinfeld is awesome. Yes, no, yes. Oh yeah, pretty evenly divided here. A lot of yeses though, so I'm gonna count the yeses as a victory, even though I shouldn't. Doorknob Head 1.69. I don't think 6.9 was an accident there. I think he strategically chose that. Nelk C 1/2. Yeah, I hear you. Good. Thank you guys for indulging me there. I'm amongst friends. I'm in good company here, so that's good. Okay, back to the questions. Andrew Botella, what would you say or sing to people arguing that since English Babel is pronounced like the unrelated onomatopoeia Babel, therefore the Bible was meant to be read in English? I would say that is dumb. Watch this. The views are just gonna, people watching is gonna drop by 50. Just watch, just because of that. No, I think we're putting the cart before the horse, perhaps there. Oh gosh. By the way, if you liked that, please hit the like button to show me that you did. So we have 81 people watching. Oh man, it's dropping. We're below 100. I'm so sorry. Come back. I won't sing. Okay. Right. Sabella Shepherd. If they are referring to the same thing and it shows overlap, so it's feasible, why ban them? Are you talking about the books there in Daniel? Yeah. I mean, I think the debate, of course, in the early church is very complicated. Yeah. I think it's a great thing to talk about. I haven't read about canonical decisions that were made in the early church in a long time. So yeah, no, I hear you. Just annoyed you. I get it. Tartaria is the empire that built all the Gothic cathedrals via giants, like the football team. That'd be kind of cool. Just kidding. Wondering if they're descendants of the Anuna gods from the far northern parts. Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard this. I'll have to take a look. Okay, let's see. Nelxie, you deserve it for being smart and adorbs. That is really sweet. Thank you. Totes adorbs. Okay, sorry. Trying to move. Corhill Truth Seeker. Sorry, forgot to tag the question. So if this two-horned ram in Media Persia wouldn't make sense for the bear to be both, and leopard Greece with its four wings being the four main generals. Yeah. So this is right. If there's one of the arguments on the side of seeing, for those of you that maybe didn't catch that, one of the arguments for the Medes and the Persians being understood jointly here is the two-horned ram in chapter 8. So you have the two-horned ram, and sorry, I'm just reading the rest of the question. We're sort of mixing the visions here. Nonetheless, so the two-horned ram, it has a shorter and a longer horn, right? And so they say, oh, well, the ram is the kingdom, and the Medes and the Persians represent like the two parts of the kingdom. The problem, so that if there's evidence for that, that's one of the arguments, in favor of that. The problem that I see with this is what you do with Greece that clearly follows, Alexander that follows. There's Greece follows, right? And of course, it's what we would expect it to do. So trying to play too much off of the visions, connecting them too much unnecessarily is bad. Not connecting them enough, obviously, is bad. The problem that we face with seeing Rome as the fourth kingdom is this issue of why do these visions end with Greece, right? That's the key. Particularly, and I mean, like, if you want to camp on one, camp on 10 to 12, and 8 and 10 to 12, obviously, 8 is what we're talking about here. Part of the real struggle that you have here is you have linguistic connection between these visions, which I think is appropriate to see certain phraseology, certain, the 3.5 years or roughly 3.5 years motif. I guess where you end up with on this whole dating of Daniel thing is you have to look at, we all have data points, right? And I know I say this a lot, but we have the data points. And we have to figure out what model makes the most sense of the greatest amount of data points. So I think it's faulty and overly simplistic to argue that, well, I don't believe in supernatural, and so it can't be early, it's got to be late. I think you need to throw that idea, I think, needs to be thrown out. I think it's a factor that is totally appropriate to factor in, but I don't think you want to. First of all, it's not convincing to make your case based on that, at least to a lot of the people that care about this issue. In the same way that atheists and agnostics are not convinced when you say the Bible, the Bible says that you shouldn't do this. Okay, and this is why I think it's not a bad thing what Mike Winger did recently with his homosexuality video. I'm going to be careful. I think it was a really bad thing in the sense of trying to make this, I think it's just really bad to try to argue against homosexuality in the way that he does. But coming at a topic from a secular approach, I don't think in and of itself is a bad idea, because I think that's how you convince people that don't hold to the inerrancy of Scripture. Of course, I think his arguments were flawed, greatly flawed, and his data was flawed. But nonetheless, so I would say that what you have to wrestle with, the problems that you have to face, are Greece being the end of these visions in 8, and particularly in 8 and 10 through 12. I have another text from my beloved wife in the UK. She says, "This is a great stream. I'm not catching all of it, but you're doing amazingly," which is unbelievably sweet. And the fact that we have 102 people watching is crazy. We have 83 likes. If we can get it up, that would be fantastic. Also, Oliver went to sleep with no screaming. That is a miracle. If you don't believe in the supernatural, believe in it now. Just kidding. But yeah, please share this out on Twitter and like the stream. Okay, sorry, I'm kind of getting held up here. Right. Again, Cohill, truth seeker, because I was taught that the leopard, being a fast animal, also represents Alexander, fastly sweeping through the Middle East, conquering everything. Yeah, so there are a couple of things that need to come into play here, and we don't have to go into like the gritty details of the Daniel prophecies, but or visions, but this idea of like animal apocalyptic genre or animals in apocalyptic genre, very common. Look at the book of Enoch, and maybe we'll go through that at some point. But this sort of stuff is common, and it needs to be factored in. Sorry, I just saw Iron Cherry Tears. He says, "Josh, ban all of the twos." I know that was probably written several minutes ago, but I can't ban all the twos. Come on, just because you don't like Seinfeld doesn't mean you can't be here and like the ancient Near East. Just kidding. Obviously that's true. I shouldn't have done that because now I forgot what I was saying. What did it say? I don't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, so trying to tie too many things to the nature of the animals, there's usually going to be some connection, right? Some play, but you don't want to go too far with that, in my opinion. Apocalyptic genre is meant to be sort of mysterious, right? It's one of the things that it does. So we always want to be careful about pushing the interpretations too hard and the connections. Cadaver Splatter, when do you think Sumerian died? Do you think it lasted until the OB, at least in Nippur? No, I don't think so. Probably died out in the end of the third millennium, or by the end of the third millennium. I think one of the reasons that we see so much copying of Sumerian text during the Old Babylonian period is the fact that it has died by this point, and it's sort of the realm of, it's in the scribal realm. So yeah, but there's a lot of ink has been spilled on that topic. If you email me, I can send you. You probably know it, the secondary literature and the debates. Let's see. My coffee tastes so bad all of a sudden out of this stupid regular mug, Injustice System 27 says. I need some digital Hammurabi Chandice. I'm such a dork. Oh, but I hope it catches on. I don't know why. Paige, the first time I heard it, Paige, my 11-year-old, she wanted to buy a t-shirt of somebody on YouTube, and she said, yeah, I just want their merch. And for some reason, it just sounded so hipster to me. Maybe that's not a bad thing. I don't know, but I like Chandice. That doesn't sound hipster. It just sounds dumb. And I'm okay with that. Hey, Skylar Fiction in the chat. What's up, Skylar? Yeah, again, please, if you haven't subscribed to Skylar's channel or to our joint channel, this is so shameless, these plugs, but I don't care. Sorry, actually, Skylar just messaged me, or he messaged me at some point on the Twitter. But sorry, I forgot what I was saying. If you haven't subscribed to Digital Fiction, please do so. Help us out. But yeah, please watch Skylar's stream tonight, because I think it's just going to be fantastic. I really think there's, I don't mean this in a like if Matt's listening or if Matt hears this, I don't mean this in a condescending way. I mean this in a, like, I remember what it was like way. I really think there's hope. It sounds so bad. I don't mean it that way. But like, there's hope for, I think that Matt seems very intelligent. Matt Powell seems very intelligent. And I think that given the right data, right, and examining the right evidence, being exposed to it, I think that actually he could be a very powerful force in a different way. So yeah, please watch the stream tonight. 104 watching. This is fantastic. Sorry, just excited about how many people are watching this. Please share it out if you haven't. Thank you, Siri, for continuing to turn on. Okay, man, and I just said it again and turned her on again. All right, I'll say this. So Vesta Freja. I'll say the same thing that I said to Megan on the last live stream I caught of hers. If I had not gotten a PhD in CPSC in engineering, I would have done something in ancient Near Eastern history. Man, we miss you. Don't you want to do a double PhD? Come on. He says, also, watching your channel gives me a chance to learn about the ancient Near Eastern history. I am so happy. This is, we really have a lot of fun with this. Okay. Iron Charioteer, when you were a Christian, were you homophobic? Hope this question does not seem too harsh. It does not seem too harsh. In the strict sense of like homophobic, like afraid of homosexuals, no. But did I have a very firm stance, a position in my mind about them? Yes, absolutely. And it's one of the things that I really, really regret, frankly. Because when you understand the biblical text, you interpret the biblical text in a certain way, it's difficult to get around it, right? And so you end up, like, I really was one of these guys, one of these people that was love the sinner, hate the sin, right? And I looking back on that, it's just, it seems so hollow, right? And I know I say the word disingenuous a lot, but it definitely seems that way. And yeah, but I definitely was one of those people. Mark, the scholar Stephanie Daly wrote a book where she makes the case that the Hanging Gardens were actually located in Nineveh and not in Babylon. Do you have a view on this? I don't. I'd like to read the text. Read her work, though. Do you have the actual citation? Stephanie Daly also wrote she's in the Kusas series. She also wrote a book, I think, on mythology. Not a book, but wrote on translations of Mesopotamian theology. Very good scholar. Biblical history skeptics. Do chaos dragons like Tiamat and Leviathan feature in Sumerian writings at all? So I'm thinking back through the Sumerian text. Nothing's coming to mind. Of course, people like Shulgi, kings like Shulgi, call themselves like dragons or something akin to that. But I'm not. Nothing's jumping out at me. Let me think on that. Corhill Truth Seeker, thanks a lot, and sorry for the badly formulated questions. Not my main language. Pfft, fantastically worded. I remember when I was in Germany, I did a Fulbright scholarship for a year in Tübingen, and I remember being over there and interacting in German. And no, your English is great. Pedro Hofferman, would you consider the Hittite law code more modern than the Hammurabi code? And if yes, are there reasons for the superior laws to evolve in this alleged warrior culture? I'm trying to remember the date of the Hittite laws. The late second millennium? I'd have to look at that before I could comment. I see but sort of to answer this, if you look at Raymond Westbrook's edited volume, Law in the Ancient Near East, I think is what it is. One of the things that you see as people go down through Egypt, Hatti, Babylonia, like Mesopotamia, Assyrian laws, Babylonian laws, those sorts of things. One of the Sumerian laws, one of the things that you see is that there's a lot of consistency in ancient Near Eastern legal texts and concepts. So, obviously you want to be careful. This is one of the things that you want to be careful of when you try to compare, look at legal aspects of legal texts in, the early second millennium in the Code of Hammurabi and compare those to biblical law codes, even though there's obviously a lot of overlap and borrowing and those sorts of things. It doesn't mean that you can make one-to-one correlations, but I'd have to do a little reading on the Hittite laws. Oh, I think I lost my place. Vesta Freya, I am so sorry. I'm a she, not a he. I apologize. Vibrantly Brantley, Skylar Fiction should have a wrench. Yes, he should. And if I had any idea how to do that, I would. Sorry. There are probably a lot of people in here that should have a wrench. Only one more question. Corhill Truth Seeker says, besides John College, which you mentioned in the video, would you recommend any other authors that also give more in-depth on this subject? Yeah, sure. There's a whole bunch of secondary literature that's obviously been written on Daniel. But a recent commentary that I mentioned is Carol Newsom's on the Book of Daniel. Chung Leong Seao has a good but short volume commentary on Daniel, 2003 maybe, can't remember. And also, it's a 1976, so again, it's a little dated. But Hartman and Delilah in the Yale Bible Commentary Series also deals with the text. I mean, the text of Daniel and surrounding text very, very well. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. Pastor Freya, I'm a little too old to go back to school to get an advanced degrees in the A&E. Almost 63. You're never too old. No, I'm just kidding. No, I hear you. I hear you. Jasper Berendrecht, Digital Hammurabi. What, in your view, is the most common misconception about the ancient Near East? That's a good question. It's very common for some reason for people to believe that ancient aliens had an effect on it and created it. But I don't know if that's probably too easy. I think just like in any other ancient culture, I think there's this misconception that people, on the one hand, that people are so vastly different from us. And so I think that people try to see them as the other far more than they should. However, at the opposite end of the spectrum, there are people that view the ancient Near East and the people in it through too much of a 21st century lens, right? And they think, well, they would think just the same as I do. And so you have to sort of balance those things. And I would say that's a pretty big misconception. Mark, Stephanie Dalley's book is called The Mystery of the Hanging Garden of Babylon, an elusive world wonder traced, published by Oxford. Yeah, I'm going to have to take a look at that. Thank you. Vibrantly Brantley, probably timescales. I don't know if I know what that means. Yep, I don't know what that means. But I suspect it was awesome. Well, I have come down to the end of the questions. This has been crazy. And I haven't, sorry, I've only been seeing, because we have so many people watching, which is fantastic, right at 99 right now. 87 likes, no dislikes. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate this. But if you have questions, please put them in. Otherwise, if we've kind of run the course. I know we've been talking a lot about Daniel. If you guys have questions about Ezekiel 26 and the prophecy against Tyre, or Old Testament slavery, please feel free to put those in as well. Pedro Hofferman, I meant the Hittite Telepino proclamation. Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and look at that. Thank you. I totally forgot to eat lunch, which is catching up with me right now. 104 watching. You guys are fantastic. Are there any, if you also, obviously, if you disagree with what I'm saying, obviously you don't have to just ask questions. You can also just disagree with what I'm saying. Just what, if you want me to read the comment, you have to do the at Digital Hammurabi thing so that I'll see it. Otherwise, it's just I won't catch it. I have a difficult time seeing them when they are tagged like that. If you are watching and you haven't tweeted out the stream or liked it on, I don't know how that works, send it on Facebook, whatever, please do so. It really helps because we have over 100 people watching here. Iron Charioteer, is the story of Jesus just typology for the story of Moses? In this, if you're asking, is it just like would I find myself in the mythicist camp? As of now, no. And actually, in light of that, I see biblical history skeptics. Have I managed to finish Carrier's Mountainous Tome yet? I have not. Actually, I haven't even been able to start it. All right, I started it 8 months ago or 6 months ago or something, and honestly, it's funny. It's funny because it really is difficult to keep up with doing research into these major topics. I don't know if this was a wise thing for me to do, to start with these really controversial things like the prophecy in Ezekiel 26, or like right now I'm writing, and we can talk about this a little bit if you want. I'm putting together a presentation on the formation of the Pentateuch, which should be really, I say it should be really good. I think it'll be really good. I'm really enjoying doing it. Very complicated, obviously. But there are some basic things that I'm sorry that G-Man doesn't agree with me, and that's okay. But the majority of reputable scholars do, like the vast majority of reputable scholars, do argue or understand the Pentateuch to be edited together, not written by Moses. So, and we'll go over that in the presentation. So, okay, I see a few more questions. Wait, so the people who left after you sung didn't dislike? Yeah, there were people that left after I sang. I guess they were just in such a hurry to get out of here. Close it out. Close it out. If you guys want me to sing more, I can. I mean, look, I'll do whatever y'all want. But actually, I thought maybe in one of the next live streams that we could sing. So I was riding down the road with my two girls today, and a Beatles song came on. I think it was "Come Together," and for some reason, I'm just really dorky. I started to sing it in like maybe not an opera voice, but like in I guess it's sort of opera-ish. And I thought, man, this would be kind of cool. It sounded goofy, but funny. I thought maybe we could sing like really popular songs in like an opera style voice. I don't know if anybody would be interested in that or if that would just hurt their ears. I don't know. Biblical History Scout. Oh, yeah, sorry, I read that one already. Vibrantly Brantley. People have a misconception about how many thousands of years the ancient Middle East covers. Yeah, I guess. I don't know that I've run across that. I do think that there is a misconception now that you've said that about people sort of telescoping ancient Near Eastern history, which runs 3,000 years as we define it, roughly. So I do think that people say, well, you see this in, obviously the obvious example would be Sitchin's work, where you have, him referring to something from the late 4th millennium and then tying it to something in the late 1st millennium. And that's just, it's just bad scholarship. But yeah, we have 106 people watching. Shoo. Huh. Man, you guys are awesome. So John Macmun, can you comment on John Allegro and his mushrooms? I can. I don't know what that is. Sorry. Nelk C. Sorry, Nelk. Dance. I mean, I guess I can dance if you guys really want me to. I don't know what I would do to dance. Bill Ashby, Come Together is amazing, but please don't sing in an operatic style. It would lose too much, in my opinion. I agree. I see that followed up by Allie H. No. So there was so when I was a Christian, there was a band called DC Talk. Anybody familiar with Decent Christian Talk? DC Talk. If you are, please let me know. But they put out an album. It was called Jesus Freak, and the song was, boy, I'm really digging deep into my past now, but the song was like sort of a hard rock-ish song, and then in one of the I don't know what you call it, like short songs on the album, they had a guy doing this same sort of thing, and he said, "What would people think when they hear that I'm a Jesus freak?" It was pretty funny. So that's what I was thinking. That was the sort of the thing I was. Petra, Carmen, yep. Oh man, DC Talk. Helen Pigman says she forgot about DC Talk. Yep. Man, what was the rap that they did? How did it go? Down with the one that is known as the son to the G to the O to the D, never done. Oh man, God, that was great. I probably should have done that. Yep, we dropped like 10 viewers instantly when I did that. Sorry about that. Well, I think we're kind of running low on questions, and I guess that I have just answered everybody's questions about some of the most difficult topics in the Hebrew Bible. Probably not. But if there aren't any more questions, I will go ahead and make some quick announcements, and then we'll close this thing up. Thank you guys all for watching and for tweeting it out. And we have 94 likes. If you haven't liked the stream, please do so. And when it's over, if you don't mind tweeting it out, then that'd be fantastic. I see there's a really great conversation going on. Biblical history skeptics. Oh God, memories of screeching teenage Christian girls, and even my own Christian mind thinking this band is shit. Yes, I do remember that. I remember going into the Christian book music store, and having the poster that said, if you like, Green Day, you will like this Christian band, and if you like Metallica, you will like this Christian band. Oh gosh, yep. I saw Audio Adrenaline. If that brings anything back for anybody, I saw Audio Adrenaline in their last concert when they did it at Spirit West Coast. At least I think it was their last concert, because I think the lead singer was something was going on with his voice. So yeah. I don't know if that's digging too deep for anybody. Digital. It didn't come up, but I see it there. Sodom and Gomorrah. What do we know? Not much. Not much. But I haven't read the recent secondary literature on what we know about Sodom, so yeah, not a lot. Vibrantly Brantley. What's my favorite Christian band? It's probably gonna stay Audio Adrenaline. I just, that big house just sort of stuck with me. We used to sing it in youth group all the time, and I could actually see my friends going, big house. It was really funny. Oh gosh. So Whiteheart, yeah. What about God Gave Rock and Roll to You? Who sang that? It sounded like was it like a Run DMC like band? Jars of Clay, yep, they were really good. They were actually, I think, pretty talented, relatively speaking. There was a Nouveau. Boy, we're really bringing stuff back here. I liked them. But yeah. Well, look, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because you guys have been fantastic. We're going about an hour and a half here. Oi mein Gott. Yep, I agree, Michael Apple. So please make sure you tune in to Skylar's channel tonight. Oh, sorry, Carrie81. Let me just read this real quick. So recently a Christian told me archaeology proves Sodom and Gomorrah. I've heard that as well. There was an article that came out. Actually, this is a good segue. There was an article that talked about a meteor that exploded or something over the region that made that salinized. Sorry, I'm kind of hot. That created salinization in the region. Anyway, we talk about this kind of briefly in something. Oh, sorry. Megan and I are. I hope it's okay to say this. I think it's okay. Apologia, I'm sorry if you hear this, and we may have done something with Apologia recently, and that should be coming up soon. So, I hope that was okay to say. Look forward to that. Keep watching Apologia's channel. If you haven't subscribed to it, do so. It's an awesome channel, but that should be coming out real soon. Right. So tonight, make sure you tune in and watch Skylar's channel, where he is going to be having a conversation. His second conversation with Matt Powell should be really great. Also, if you don't know about our scholarship program, I think Megan would be happy for me to talk about it really quickly. And look, if you're listening and you don't like what I say about Daniel, you don't like what I say about Ezekiel 26, you don't like what I say about Old Testament slavery, obviously that's totally fine. But there is a scholarship program that we have created here at Digital Hammurabi that it would be, I think, well worth your time and money to support. And let me tell you why. It is the HAPS scholarship program. which is Humans Against Poor Scholarship. And the sole purpose of Humans Against Poor Scholarship is to get reputable PhD students who are active in their fields, in the ancient Near Eastern fields, to make them, to get them a scholarship so that they can do their research and do it without having to worry about if they have enough money to get, to get through their summer research project. Anyway, so what we've done is our Patreon, every dollar that's given to our Patreon goes directly to funding this scholarship program. And thus far, I think we've raised close to a little over $2,000. We're trying to get 2 scholarships this year. We're very close to being able to fund both of the scholarships. But if you donate to our Patreon, it goes directly to funding that scholarship program. I'm saying scholarship program a lot. But all of our Patreons get a vote in who gets to receive the scholarship. So we have put out a call for papers or for project proposals. I put it out earlier this week, and we've gotten 5 or 6, I think, already. And what we will do is our Patreons will kind of narrow the field, and then we will bring on a number of the applicants, and we will interview them, and they will make a pitch to you for their summer research project. And they will say, here's why I think you should support my project. Here's why it's important. And you guys, the Patreons, get to vote, or the patrons, Patreons, I don't know what you guys are called, but you get a vote. Every patron gets a vote. And Iron Charioteer, yes. He says, Jill owes you $200 for the scholars. I agree. I don't think he's going to give it, but that's okay. Jill, if you're listening, it's going to a good cause. So please donate to our Patreon that $200 so we can get these PhD students supported. Okay, I've rambled on way too much. Yes, guys, thank you so much for watching. We still have 92 watching, even though I'm rambling on like this. I just really appreciate it. And please watch Scholar's channel tonight. It's going to be a great discussion. Starting next Saturday, I think every Saturday we're going to be doing a digital fiction episode. Hopefully we're working on trying to figure out how to do the Judge Josh. The Judge Josh, like Judge Judy, show on digital fiction. So hopefully it'll be good. But sorry, my point was, I just saw a comment by John K. The point of me bringing up people that disagree with me, look, we should all be after good scholarship, right? We should all be after people learning to do good research. So that's what this is all about. It's all about trying to get good PhD students out there in the field so that they can do this new research and it can get to you. So whether you agree with us or not, it's a fantastic cause and it's something that you should support. So please do so. Obviously, we don't take a dime from our Patreon. As a matter of fact, we have put ourselves on the hook to contribute from our own funds whatever amount Patreon takes, so that if you give $100 to Patreon, $100 goes to the student. So it's actually costing us. And we've had 2 people, actually, I won't mention who they are because they wanted to remain anonymous, but they have very graciously volunteered to make up that percentage that Patreon takes so that we don't have to do it out of our own funds, which is absolutely amazing. So thank you very much. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, until next time, resist poor scholarship. Always ask, how do you know that? Thanks.